Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks, Australia. What a sickening sight it is to behold these puppet tyrants in Australia barking their orders at the people. I mean, it does seem that Australia at the moment is the testing ground. All of this crap we are seeing in Australia, I would imagine, is being reported back and processed and analysed by other countries. And they will adapt their strategy depending on what happens there. Okay, remember in Australia they are claiming that 40% have had the jab. So if that was true, that means that they are currently threatening 60% of the population with taking away their freedoms.
The message to the unvaccinated is that you will not achieve any further freedom unless you get vaccinated. And a further and final message to regional New South Wales. There are parts of regional New South Wales that are currently open. The 70% roadmap does apply to the whole state. So there will be individuals in regional rural New South Wales who choose not to be vaccinated who will lose their freedoms on the 11th of October. So my message to everybody in regional and rural New South Wales is to continue to get vaccinated.
So this is a bully. They are all bullies. And you need to stand up to bullies because they don't stop otherwise. Mass non-compliance is the way. You don't give in to bullies' demands and threats because that is what it is. This is clearly a testing ground, and it seems this is what we can expect in one shape or form in whatever country you are in. And whatever the strategy is, it will be dependent on the outcome of what happens in Australia. We've seen numerous protests in Australia with some very tooled up looking police that look more like the military. Now, a lot of this footage is quite shocking when you consider this is the police, the military dealing with their own people, and the people are peacefully protesting. But I've received numerous emails from people who are saying that a lot of it is staged for the media to put out in order to give the impression that the police are scary and are like some kind of New World Order military enforcement team who are ruling over the people like an iron fist. That this is deliberately being ramped up in the media in order to continue the fear propaganda so that the people are afraid to go out and protest, to scare them into doing what the government want. Now, I'm not saying this is true, but this is what I've had. I've had quite a few emails about this, and that some of the people filming this in the streets of Australia are helping to stoke this up. Now, again, this is what I've been told by a few people. I don't know. I'm not in Australia, okay? So if you are in Melbourne and you have been at the protests, let us know what's going on. Because we all know that this is a psychological war, and images and videos like we have seen of the police being brutal will put fear into people. And these things can be staged. Obviously, not all of it. There are protests going on. And workers are rightfully standing up and are angry. But certain parts of it can be staged. We've seen this before, so bear that in mind when you see any clips. Here's a clip about police and how they are considering suspending 33% of their 12,000 police officers and 5,000 support staff because 33% have not had the jab. Again, if all of these police officers stuck together and said no, they wouldn't be able to achieve the goals they want because people have the power.
1,200 officers suspended without pay for refusing to get their COVID jab. The Police Commissioner has spoken exclusively with 7 News, defending her hardline stance and insisting she can continue to keep Queenslanders safe.
A fresh batch of police recruits ready to hit the beat. And soon more could be fast-tracked through graduation as the Police Commissioner grapples with suspending as many as 1 in 10 officers unwilling to get the jab.
I'm very confident that we've done the math on this.
Of Queensland's 12,000 police officers and 5,000 support staff, 33% haven't reported receiving their first jab. They have until October 5 or they'll be stood down.
The most challenging time for us is the next 2-3 months until we get that, 80 or 90% that's required.
Speaking exclusively to 7 News, she says she'll fill the gaps by shifting police around the state, increasing overtime and having some officers work extra shifts.
We can even graduate more recruits if we need to, so there's sufficient resources there.
There weren't enough police available to defend our border, the military called in just 4 weeks ago.
We very much welcome them back on board.
But the Commissioner insists losing up to 1,200 serving police is manageable, referencing events like the G20 and Commonwealth Games.
30% of the organisation was working on that, so we know what it's like.
Queensland's police union fully supports the mandate but wouldn't comment today. It comes as a 55-year-old officer was charged with official misconduct, accused of smuggling his daughter across the border.
One thing we are seeing in the UK at the moment is the constant drafting in of the army to be delivery drivers. We've had drafting in the army to deliver food due to lorry drivers getting pinged. We've had army being drafted in to drive ambulances up in Scotland and in England due to shortages. The army now being talked about to come in to drive fuel due to petrol shortages. All of these shortages are due to the government and the media creating them, publicising them, and people, because God knows why, but people still believe the media and then go out and panic buy. Why they do this, I don't know, but there you go. And this is being done by the looks of it because, well, they want the army more and more on the streets so that when they bring in martial law, it won't be too much of a surprise. They see what is happening in Australia and they are probably thinking, well, before we get to that stage, it might be handy to get as much of the military on the ground as possible. And that seems to be what they are doing. Look at this headline, Propaganda BBC, fuel supply. Minister blames empty petrol pumps on unnecessary purchases. They caused the problem, right? They, in conjunction with the media, put out the message, oh, petrol rationing, panic buying, knowing full well that people would then go out and buy petrol and panic buy. And then they turn around and they blame you. Now, where have you seen that pattern before? It's just all fake. I mean, so much of everything going on is illusion in order to manipulate people into doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. The petrol issue is a good example. There's no need for this. What we are witnessing is a controlled demolition. When I look through this muck in the mainstream, I mean, look, take for example this Angela Rayner story. It's all about her calling Boris Johnson scum. This is all rubbish, yeah? Yeah, that story is all about trying to make people invest more in the idea, in the fantasy that Labour and Conservative are opposing parties. They're not. They're the same two cheeks of the same arse. People look at the political and see it more now than ever for the scam it is. So what better way to try and maintain the illusion of opposing parties by getting one of them to call the other side scum? It's all rubbish. It's all illusion. Look at this, Insulate Britain out again, messing up people's lives, stopping them going to work, stopping people getting to hospital, causing traffic jams. It's a demolition job, all right? It's all controlled. I've said it before and I'll say this again. What you're seeing is Oz, the great and powerful from The Wizard of Oz, creating illusions, hiring actors, staging events, all to control the truly great populace because they know that people have the power. Why else would they go to all of these lengths to control them? The truth has the power. The people, when united, have the power. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them trick you. As always, thanks for listening. Come and subscribe to the tribe at hugotalks.com, a place for like-minded souls who don't follow the fake stream media.